Hey guys, welcome to the 51st episode of the Learning Podcast. And if you aren't sure, it's a Singaporean podcast dedicated to learning something new from every single guest on this show. And today I have a very special guest I met through LinkedIn. Alex, thanks so much for taking the time.
Hey, it's good to be here, JJ.
I'm really appreciative because actually a lot of people that I ask, they don't really want to come down because it's very far, but I'm really appreciative for the fact that you've taken time. A little context about Alex. I've written some notes here. He is a consultant trainer for businesses and individuals in the fitness, health, and wellness space. And I can dare say that Alex is definitely one of the fittest guests I had on this podcast. He's so jacked. And the reason why he's so fit, because sports was a big part of his life. He represented Singapore at the SEA Games as a water polo player. So I think that the journey to representing your country, is something that I won't ever have the experience of doing so. But Alex himself has been on a lot of other podcasts as well. And I'll just leave a bunch of other podcasts that he has shared about his water polo experience as a sports person and kind of lessons that he learned from it. So I would say that maybe this podcast won't be too much about his sports experience. Other context about Alex, he's very passionate about community building. He has done a lot of things. And I would say that the career trajectory of him is quite unconventional. He was involved in the fitness space for a while. He was working at TJC as a fitness water polo coach.
It was a physical education teacher.
PE
teacher.
PE teacher, right? Then he went to work at Thailand in the hospitality industry, which I think it's almost a 180 turn, to be honest. So I was like, how did that even come about, I think? And I never had a conversation with someone who worked in Thailand before as a foreigner. So I'm very interested to find out about that as well. And the hospitality industry is something that I don't really have a very good understanding of. So he was a general manager and managing director of some of the resorts there as well. So I'm just interested to know from a very broad perspective, how is it like? So if you're interested in the hospitality industry, I think that there's some lessons to be learned as well. And a little bit more context, yes, he's very passionate about community building. He's a co-founder of Kampung Collective. It builds and trains community builders all around Asia, is it?
Actually, for Kampung Collective, we are a community for community builders.
Oh, the inception, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so not so much a platform to train people, but it's a community or platform to gather people together, to connect and also to share best practices, sharing connections and networks, and just to build authentic relationships on seeing how we can help each other in our own community building journeys.
Speaking of communities, I'm in a podcast community by Raven. So I think a common mutual connection that we have is Raven. As a Raven is also part of Kampung Collective,
yes,
right?
She is, yes.
So I was like, I think the art, I had a catch-up session with Alex on a Zoom or Google Hangout, right? And he shared about the power of community. And I think I really strongly resonate with that. Other context about Alex, he's also the co-founder of, I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, I apologize, Avantier Wellness.
Avantier Wellness,
yeah. Where its mission is to help individuals with pain relief, sleep enhancement, energy improvement, and optimize well-being. So I think in the realms of biohacking, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the term, right? I think there's a lot of things, small things you could do on a daily basis to optimize your health, your well-being, right? And fitness to me, or your body, taking care of your body, paying attention to what you eat. I feel like I've been poisoned for the past 18 years because I feel like I didn't take any attention to what I was eating. I was eating a lot of junk food, all that kind of stuff. I'm very skinny as well, skinny fat. So I think I'm only beginning to understand what is nutrition, how to build muscles, all that kind of stuff. But of course, I know you're super expert at, but I think it's very important to take care of our bodies. And I just wanted to have his take on, let's say, a 101 to what does it take to do simple things when it comes to biohacking and just optimizing your life to a certain extent. A couple of reasons why I think this podcast will be helpful. If you're interested in the hospitality industry and working in Thailand, I think there's very little people who have that experience, so I think that would be quite interesting. The second reason would be biohacking. I'm very interested in pattern recognition. So from his experience, he has worked with many businesses, many individuals in terms of optimizing their well-being. So I'm interested to know what kind of patterns have he seen across all his clients, and maybe there's a thing or two that we can learn from this podcast. And the third section of this podcast will be about life. And the reason why I inserted this section, I know it's quite random, right? Right now, I'm actually taking a life purpose-ish course that my company actually paid for, VaynerMedia paid for, is this program called Inner You. And they're asking a lot of difficult questions, in my opinion, in the course to allow participants to have a greater clarity in where they're going in their career, relationships, finance, and all that kind of stuff. So this section will be just broad questions that, to be honest, I just copy-pasted from the course, but I'm just very interested in, let's say, on the topic of finding your life purpose. This is such a big thing. I'm only starting to understand. So I feel that people like you have sort of been clearer with what your life purpose is, and I just wanted to know your story of arriving there in the first place. Aside from that, I think there's a lot of things to learn about relationships as well. Alex was sharing me that he went through a divorce at 25?
26.
26, which is very
yeah.
very young. So I think there's a lot of lessons that could be learned, because I'm sure that going through a divorce is something very painful. So just general life principles. Okay, sorry for the long rant. I know it's a very long introduction. Alex, for those listeners that don't know who you are, in your own words, is there anything you want to add on?
That's a very lengthy introduction, right, JJ? So first of all, thank you for having me, right? Right now, I'm on the verge of launching my own consultancy. So Aviary & Co. is my consultancy. You said it right. I am a consultant, trainer / coach in the fitness, health, wellness space. I am launching in January 2021. And since I've been slowly releasing information about my launch, from my logo to my name card to the website, which is going to be happening soon, I've already been having so much interest, like, hey, what's this you're going to be doing? Maybe we can work together, right? So even before I launched my company, that I'm pitching already for proposals and doing jobs, right? So it's very, very good. I'm very, very happy with what I planned in terms of the runway. So that's what I'm working on, launching in January. Being co-founder of Avantia Wellness, right? Talking about optimization and achieving better well-being as well as peak performance. So that is with regard to red light therapy. So that is something that I am involved in, or I have been involved in for the past 1.5 years. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. You mentioned co-founder of Kampung Collective. Yes, that's that. I have a live broadcast called Lost at 40. Kopi Chat with Alex. So this is a conversation that I have with guests that would be able to contribute on anything to do with health, retirement, career, parenting / caregiving. So this is specifically for men in their 40s who are so-called lost, because I'm in my early 40s, and I thought that there actually could possibly be a lot of men out there that would be having similar issues, but maybe don't have a platform to listen about it, or don't have a platform to actually even ask questions about it. Yeah, I have 3 other three other podcast sessions or video podcast sessions that Community Builders Speak is one. So that's in the fitness, health, wellness space. I am working on Athlete's Grid from Sports to Life. That's something that I shared with you earlier. So that I'm going to convert into a podcast. So that's not going to be a video interview series. And the final one that I am going to be starting, hopefully in 2021, is called Fitness Hustle, Your Dream Career. So that one is really to get people who are aspiring to be fitness instructors to learn from my fitness instructors who will be on my podcast on, how they managed to be successful, whether they were in their 20s, 30s, 40s or whatever, and made a career out of being a fitness instructor. So that's one of the main barriers, right? Right now, when you're in university and you tell your mom or dad, hey, I want to be a fitness instructor. Hey, I want to start my own boutique gym. They're going to tell you, xiao, I send you to school 4 years, how much 30, 40, 60K that I spend on you, and you want to go and start something like that. So increasingly, I think there are a lot of success stories out there, and you need not necessarily aspire to be a boutique gym owner. That need not be the end goal, right? You could just be a fitness instructor, being happy whatever you're doing, and also doing all these other things on the side. So we'll hear from the guests, and I want people out there, whether it's undergrads or whether it's people career change, right? In the 20s, career change, 30s, career change, 40s also can career change, right? That actually being a fitness instructor is something possible for you to do to be able to retire comfortably. Yeah.
Okay, you got so much going on, my gosh. Okay, I didn't have 3 podcasts. Okay, going all the way back, right? You spent quite a lot of time at TJC, right? As a PE teacher, right? Can you just maybe share the thought process? Just share the story of why were you at TJC? And how did you transit to being a general manager of all these kind of hotel resorts in Thailand?
Sure. Right. I started out as a teacher, a PE teacher, because actually my first job was as a professional water polo player. So I represented Singapore, but I was training full time for 2 years before I became a physical education teacher. And all along, I knew that I didn't want a desk-bound job. So, and all along, I knew that I wanted to be still involved in sport in some way. And I was fairly active in church at that point in time and very active with the youth ministry as well. So connecting well with teenagers was something I thought was, I enjoyed lah, right? At the same time, I was also wanting to do something in sports. So I said, hey, why not education, right? So I applied and I was successful. So, and then 2 years of studying at NIE, PESS, Physical Education Sports Science Institute at NIE. And yeah, then I was at TJC for 8 years. When I left, I was in my early 30s. The growth trajectory for me in terms of personal development when I was in Temasek JC, I think was a key foundation for me in terms of my values. So having started in the ministry, having started in education really helped to seal the values that I think has helped me be who I am today. Right. And as much as some people think or feel that, hey, teachers only do the same thing day in, day out, right? Actually, teaching as a career, I wrote an article, right? 10 reasons why teaching should be your first profession. And I listed out all the things that actually help you or train you, right? To prepare you for the dark side, which is private sector.
Wow,
right?
the dark side. Okay.
Yeah, but so from leadership to multitasking to mentorship to coaching, everything I learned and honed as a teacher. And I think that really helped me be who I am today. Right. And the reason why I left, right? In the 8 years that I was in teaching, I actually started a few businesses. So retail, F&B, marketing.
Ice cream
agency.
shop, right?
Yes, ice cream shop, right? At Haji Lane. We were the second shop to open in Haji Lane. And then a tuition agency tried to do that. That failed miserably. But all along, itchy backside, cannot keep still, want to do more than whatever else I was doing as a full-time job. And when I left, a few reasons I'll share with you. One was I felt that the age gap was getting bigger between me and the students. But in actual fact, I was just getting older and not being able to keep up with the times, right? So with that, there was a bit of disconnect. And I saw some of my colleagues, ex-colleagues, which I'm still very close to right now in their 50s, and I'm like, I don't think I can be this 50-year-old uncle. Excuse me, or auntie, and still be dealing with students at this age, right? So I wanted to leave before it got too late for me to feel this illusion. And since I was already feeling like there was a disconnect, I started searching, right? So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that when I left, I was head of department for student leadership. A lot of the work I was doing was in character development, training students for career, how to manage interviews in careers and how to actually be surviving out there in the private sector. But at the same time, I didn't have that private sector experience. So I felt insecure. I felt inadequate. And even though I had good connections and networks with people in the different sectors and industries, I just felt that I wasn't good enough for my job, right? And I was very well trained, facilitation, coaching, attended a lot of courses and all that. Very, very well read as well, right? In terms of self-help books. But I still felt that it wasn't sufficient. So it was also at this point that I was searching, should I go and do my master's? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then I realized that, okay, I think I'll just leave. Right? So I had the opportunity to go to Thailand to work because someone in church knew that I was looking to leave.
Oh, okay. So that's that connection
that connection from church, right? And he said that, hey, I've got this opportunity and we're looking for a Singaporean to jaga the team there. And don't need that experience. Most important is someone we can trust. And I know I can trust you. So that was what he told me. And I said, okay, I got opportunity to go. Why not, right? So timing was right. And that's when I left. So when I left to go to...
Sorry, if I may just backtrack, right? Because I myself have many friends who are interested in becoming teachers and are existing teachers themselves. So when it came to your thought process of like scratching our own age in terms of like trying all our other businesses, right? Is there any kind of advice you would give to, let's say, early teachers in their career? Because I was a teaching intern for a while. Then when I entered, I see a lot of teachers that are jaded. Maybe it's not specific to like fitness as well, but they feel very jaded in terms of the kinds of impact that they can give to their students. Okay, maybe I was teaching in a neighborhood school and I wanted to become a teacher. But then when I saw most of the teachers being jaded themselves, right, I decided then and there that I'm not going to go into teaching because this is not the kind of environment that I want to be in. So I was just like, is there any kind of advice would you give to, let's say, people, existing teachers that are in their career and maybe... Not to say that they're second guessing on their choice, whether they want to stay there because it's a very comfortable thing and in a sense become disillusioned with the kind of safety nets that they are equipped with, but just the kind of general advice you would give to young teachers out there.
I did a session on personal leadership just 2 weeks ago, and I think that at the end of the day, your company, kudos to your company, for sending you on this purpose building course,
why is
right?
this company doing this?
Yeah, so in fact, a friend of mine also, company arranged for something like that. And that's also when he realized that being in that job was not his purpose. And he actually left.
Yeah, it's like weird, right? Okay.
No, but it's good, that the company really wants the employees to know why they're doing what they're doing. So I think at the end of the day, it's important to understand your purpose for those out there listening. And why do you live, eat, breathe every day, right? Yeah, and why are you what do you wake up every day excited to be doing, right? And many people, including myself, will say, oh, family, right? Oh, my children, I want to see them go to university, I want to see them graduate, I want to hold my grandchild in my hands and all that, right? But or some people will have mortgage to pay, right?
Yes.
A house, a car, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you were to strip down all of these, right, and if the world only had you and you didn't have all of these possessions and you didn't have a family or whatever to care for, what then would you still be living for? I think that is the essential question, right? Or what's your mission in life? I think that's something that you need to ask. And yes, no doubt, there will be times in your career, not just in teaching, I believe in any job where you feel jaded, you feel whatever, but then what are the sort of support structures that you have in place to actually keep you going? And that's where the resilience part comes in, right? So what are the support structures? Are these structures provided by the company, organization, or are these structures provided by the people around you? So you need to be aware. I think self-awareness is one of the key things of personal leadership. So having that self-awareness to know where what role do you play in the environment that you're in. And if you are aware of that, then it's a lot easier to understand that purpose, that clarity, and it helps you or helps point you in a better direction in terms of the compass on where you should be heading or headed for. And, the question that you asked was, I was involved in a lot of things and all that. So you don't actually need to be involved in a lot of things to understand where you possibly want to be headed. But I think you need to understand yourself the most. It so happens that by doing more things, you understand yourself a bit more. Right. But that doesn't mean that you cannot be self-reflective on your own, doing things on your own and, reading self-help books or, attending courses or whatever and having that sort of realization on your own. So don't beat yourself over not having a purpose, not understanding what you want in life. And, that time will come, but you need to do the homework. You cannot expect all of this to be falling on your lap without you doing the research, doing the homework, listening to podcasts like this, right? Or even doing your own research and speaking to people, which is why coaching as well as mentorship is quite a strong, I'm quite a strong advocate for that. And I had good mentors when I was in education, right? My vice principals, my head of department, and they provided a safe environment for me to fail. And by having that safe environment for me to fail, I actually picked myself up quite quickly. And I learned from all of those experiences. But, like I mentioned, the dark side, right? If you're on the dark side and you fail, you're going to be you probably get the sack, right? And maybe no bonus or whatever. And then, so it's very different depending on which industry or which sector that you're in. Yeah. So hope I answered that question.
When it comes to the kind of advice you give to young teachers, that I'm just, my experience when I went in, right, I saw a lot of young teachers that are like jaded. Any advice for them specifically? Or
I think for the people that you need to understand why you're teaching in the first place, right? Yeah, I know it's cliche to say that, to mold young lives and do that, but it is true, right? So just need to go back down to why you applied to do it in the first place. If you applied to do it because there was nothing else for you to apply for, okay, maybe at that point in time or that stage of your life, you needed something to tide you over. Doesn't matter. Then you realign and rethink, okay, then what, at this current point in your life, at this stage of your life, what is the purpose? What is the real purpose after realizing that? So some people need time to realize what they don't want. Some people immediately know what they want. Some people need to try 100 things before they realize that it's 99 things that they don't want and they want that particular one thing. So just if you're in that situation, then maybe it is time to explore other options and to understand what the other options are. It's really to understand your strengths, your skill sets that you actually are good at doing, and how are you going to be able to translate and align that to another industry or another vertical. And that's what I managed to do. And to be honest with you, I didn't immediately know that. It's only now, 20 years after, that I realized that, oh yes, okay, that is something that I did correctly, thankfully. And for me to have been successful in the different roles that I've played since I left education.
And because for me, we are so occupied with the day-to-day things, right, where I don't even make the time to okay, I need to prioritize. And that's where when I got into this course, I've never taken the time to reflect. So I'm taking the time to reflect right now, right? So yeah, I think everyone should reflect. On the note, right, because I know if you transition from being a teacher into this very uncertain world, how do you deal with that uncertainty, or did you would say pain of you being in TJC was something that you didn't no longer wanted and you're willing to embrace this kind of uncertainty? Going to a foreign country, I think going to a foreign country itself is wow. Do you speak Thai?
I had to learn Thai,
gosh.
during that time. But of course, my Thai is very colloquial, and now that I haven't spoken it for a long time, I've forgotten a lot. But one key phrase, that was ringing in my head that sort of sealed the deal for me when I left teaching was the regret of not leaving would be greater than the regret of having left and regretting it. So that's
the regret of not leaving will be greater.
Yes, the regret of not leaving would be greater than the regret of having left and regretting it, right? So, if I leave and I fail and I'm not successful, I can always go back, right? It's not something that maybe my career trajectory will not be as smooth as before, but I would still be able to get an inroad into education, even if it's not government, maybe private, or maybe tertiary.
Dark side.
So that is how I saw it. So it's not the end of the road at any one point. And with your question of the uncertainty, actually I found it fun. Right, the uncertainty for me was fun. Right,
okay.
I don't know what's going to happen. What do I need to do? All these things that I need to learn. So that was exciting for me. Right, I needed to learn about architecture, interior design, something which I was already very passionate about. But the procurement side, the construction side, so a lot of things. But it was exciting for me, and I enjoyed meeting new people. So it was in the course of all of this that I realized that, hey, what is it that I really like to do? I like to meet new people, and I like to understand new cultures, and I like to understand where people are coming from, and I like to be able to meet the needs of different individuals as well as businesses. And which is why now I'm starting my consultancy, right? Because I realize my purpose, right? And I'm happy doing whatever I'm doing. And I think at the end of the day, if you're happy doing whatever you're doing, work will not count as work, and you don't actually dread doing whatever you're doing. Of course, there will be stuff nitty-gritty, like maybe the admin stuff or maybe finance stuff that you don't like, or whatever stuff that you don't like. But it's still a drastically smaller percentage compared to what you would be doing if you had a manager or boss or supervisor or telling you exactly what you need to do, and the job scope is predetermined for you. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell that you think about all this internally, but when it comes to, let's say, I'm just curious of your, let's say, your wife reaction to you, I want to go Thailand, or your family, your siblings, your close friends, I'm going Thailand. Like I will assume that, of course, the decision for you to leave the country and go to Thailand was mainly your own, but I'm just curious onto their reaction. And like, are you the kind of person that also keeps into consideration of what they think as well when it comes to your career decision? So yeah, I just wanted to hear from you their thoughts and how they responded to your decision in leaving the country. Because when people leave the country, I'm just saying from like maybe a university person perspective, right? Like, oh, you want to leave the country? It's just, oh, I've met many friends going to Silicon Valley, Europe countries, New York, America. That's a dream, right? Thailand, exotic, very very interesting. So like, yeah, how did they respond?
I think everybody at some point relishes the idea of living overseas, whether it's studying or working. I don't know. Some people might want to be in a metropolis. Some people want to be in a slightly more backward third world country. But I mean, for me, it was just the opportunity. Like, it didn't matter where the country was. But family-wise, very supportive, definitely. At that time, it was not even my fiance. So at that time that I left, it was my girlfriend, right, which is my current wife. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made, I would say, because I didn't really consult her in this, and I made this decision on my own. Yeah, so this was something that actually caused a little bit of strain in the relationship, because it was then going to be a long distance. So even though
she wasn't moving over
she wasn't moving over as well, so there was a bit of a strain in the relationship in the first 2 years, especially that I was there. But we kept things going strong, and yeah, I mean,
at the time you didn't have a child yet.
No. This was in 2013, and my girl was only born in 2018, so 5 years later.
Oh,
yeah. So that is actually, was she I think she was already my fiance. Yeah. Because it was a long time between getting engaged and getting married, and part of the reason was because of the strain in the relationship. Yeah, so I think that was my biggest mistake, and I mean, and I'm very very grateful that my fiance, my wife, she's super understanding, right? And no, definitely, the best decision I've ever made was to meet her, to get married, and now we've got a little girl, and yeah, hopefully more to come soon.
Okay. Any lessons from this kind of strain? I feel like long distance relationship is a very very tough thing, like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, how do you even healthily maintain a long distance relationship in your opinion? Okay, technically every couple has their own different dynamics of how they communicate. Like, but when it comes to you, what were kind of specific? I know it's a bit weird, but what kind of specific challenges do you meet? Because you didn't even really strongly consult with her, and yet she was like someone that was honestly close to you as well, and you still dare to make that. Okay, I'm gonna go Thailand. Like, wow.
Yeah. So that was it was a rash decision on my part.
How short was this time frame between TJ and going to Thailand?
I think 1 month.
Wow,
Yeah,
1 month?
1 month.
That's so fast.
Yeah, 1 month. But of course, the first few months there of going to Thailand was still a transition period, right? So it was like 2 weeks there and then 2 weeks back, and slowly we needed to settle the work visas and all that. So that needed time to get settled. But so she was very understanding. I mean, of course, she was fuming mad to start with, right? So thinking back about that, I feel really bad. But I think I was, for lack of a better word, self-centered or selfish, because I wanted to go overseas, and I made the decision to do it, and expecting to convince her, as opposed to consulting and then making that decision together. You get what I mean? So advice for those people out there is to actually to communicate and to consult with each other before making decisions. And I mean, I'm going to fast forward this to, being a father, a husband right now. And it is very important to make decisions for the family unit. And even if it's husband and wife, it's already a family unit. So don't make decisions based on you as an individual, right? Make decisions based on the family unit, and the relationship will definitely be a lot happier, and I believe it will be a lot more sustainable as well, right? So communication is key, right? And everyone talks about, in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or it's, a non-married couple, definitely you need to communicate. You need to talk about worries, concerns, aspirations, and all of that, not just with yourself, but also for the other party. And so that's my piece of advice for young people out there.
What do you do on a daily basis when you are a general manager? Because like, what do you do? There's so many moving parts in the organization, right? So how do you even begin to educate yourself when you didn't have this background in the first place? To being a general manager and managing director, honestly, is a very high up position.
So
right?
the managing director role only came at a later stage. And the reason why I was hired to be general manager, so I was actually hired initially to launch the service apartment. So it was a 100-room service apartment. And I took 1.5 years to launch it. And this role was not a hospitality role. But it was only after launching the service apartment that the brand owners said, hey, Alex, this place inside out. You've slept on every bed. You showered in every cubicle, and why not you help to hire the team? And after you hire the team, you can manage the team as well. So for me, I have an opportunity to do something like that, why not? So I grabbed it immediately. And I said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And team, I think my team was about 30 plus 40 people, so sizable team. And because I was not hospitality trained, a lot of things that I was doing was slightly different. And I think the team, which were mostly hospitality trained, found it refreshing. And we actually managed to do fairly well. In the year 2017 that I left, we won Best Service Apartment Thailand. So that was quite an achievement for me. It was also the year that I left hospitality. Yeah, so
when you say doing things differently from the hospitality industry, could you share it? Like, are you putting your fitness, sports mentality into doing stuff? I don't know, things are
right. I think it was more from a marketing perspective, from a lead generation, business development perspective. The sort of engagement activities that I proposed for the team to do.
When you say lead generation, is mainly getting people to
yes,
live.
yes, lead generation. So getting people to live. So because we were a service apartment, we were more of a long stay.
Up to couple of years?
No,
Months?
long stay is in minimum of 3 months stay. Yeah, for some it's minimum of 1 month stay. So different pricing, different programs that we will roll out. But at the same time, we were also looking to be a little bit more imaginative and inventive to still have some daily stay people living or coming to stay. Yeah, so that was the innovative part. Is treading on a gray line, right, in terms of how we can approach the situation. Yeah, so that's what I mean by being a little bit more thinking out of the box. Yeah.
Or allowing people to stay on a very short-term basis and playing around the rules of that. Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
I got it.
Yeah. So whereas if it were maybe a traditional hotelier, he or she would say, no way, we can't do that. Right? But because I am a rookie,
Doing things differently is advantage.
yeah. So that was the advantage that I had, and which for me was just give it a try, right? If it doesn't work, then or if somebody makes any noise, then we stop it lah, right? So that was what we did, and yeah, we were successful in that. And you asked, what I do on a daily basis. In hotels, it's very normal to have a morning meeting or a morning brief. So that always happens early, depending on what time everybody starts, 8:30, 9. And that's really about reporting what's the occupancy, any issues that cropped up yesterday, what's our revenue at this current point, and who's checking in today. So that were the sort of things that we would talk about in the day. And then after that, I like to walk around and meet my hotel guests. So I would move around, welcome them, check them in, so that is the sort of thing that happens in the morning. And then there's lunch. And then lunch could be outside, lunch could be inside, indoors. Outside would be, literally, I'm doing a business meeting or collaboration or partnership sort of meeting. And afternoon would be coming back to check emails and attend to, there might be department meetings or whatever. So lots of meetings. I think, as a senior management, there are a lot of meetings that you need to be present for. That was pretty much, and at the end of the day, there would be events. One event every other week, right, that I would want to attend or that I would need to attend. And there, some of it is really showface kind of events. Some of the events are really, it's a nice gala. It's good to be there, to meet some friends and whatever. Yeah, but having worked and lived there for 4 years, I made a lot of good friends. So even right up to now, we still keep in good touch, good contact. Yeah, and I've gone back to Thailand a few times already to attend different weddings of friends there. Yeah.
When you talk about like reporting to senior management, are they like Thais? Or because it's like quite an international
it's a good mix. Yeah. So the person I was reporting to, there was a Singaporean, also a Thai, two Thais actually, and one Singaporean. So for different matters, some would be for operations, some would be for finance, some would be for projection, and growing the business sort of meetings. So that was the reporting structure.
I mean, you have worked in TJC for 8 years, right? Then now going into, I would say, the dark side, right? What was the biggest difference in terms of like working culture, the working reports? Because I'm not sure if there's a big. I've briefly worked with Thais before, but like not so much. So I generally don't believe in like stereotypes or the Thais work like that, Chinese people work like that, Singaporeans work like that. But just from your general perspective of spending 8 years in like a ministry and coming to the dark side. What was the biggest differences that you have, and were there any like lessons you learned specific to your time in Thailand that was new compared to your time at TJC?
I think that I shared earlier that being in school, right, it's a very safe environment. So coming out, definitely it's a dog eat dog world, right? Anything you do, you're gonna get your ass whipped, right? Or there could be somebody telling on you, and you could, or somebody could sabotage, right? That's actually very easy to happen. So coming out, I'm a very trusting person, so I needed to learn to be less trusting.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also needed to be more cautious of different individuals. So everyone has their own agenda, but it's about reading the person better. So that's something that I feel at the dark side. But you need to learn on the job, right? So you need to get yourself burnt or experience something bad first before you learn from that experience. And specific to Thai culture, I think senior management wise, I think it's very much the same as in Singapore, but it's more of, I guess, the people on the ground that are like a little bit more, in Thai we call sabai, that means a bit more relaxed.
Oh, okay.
A bit relaxed, Jack. They will tell you tell them the deadline is the end of the week. By the end of the week, they'll be like, yeah, or they will tell you that, yeah. Every time is yeah. But, the work never gets done, right? So timelines always need to get pushed back because of things like that, right? So, but otherwise, increasingly, I think corporate culture is pretty much the same, but it's people on the ground. Like, when I deal with the construction guys, or when I deal with the housekeeping, that sort of thing. But it's always good to have Thai managers or heads of departments that are also managing the guys on the ground. So then, that gets work done, because another issue also is the language problem. So even though we speak slowly, English or Singapore English is very understandable compared to, American English, Australian English, or British English. But they will still get things wrong. And yeah, so that's something always that I've learned you need to clarify. So, it's like, can you repeat what I said? What is it exactly that you're supposed to be doing? Because sometimes it's yes, but then the work never gets done. And one of the reasons is always that, but I thought you you meant that, or I thought that.
Misunderstandings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Could you you talk about being burnt, right? Is there a story that you can share just in a very vague sense of how you got burnt and the kind of corrective measures you took as a general manager?
I think there were many,
Small-
there were little small ones, no big ones that happened that, caused me a great trauma.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
but
consequence.
I think it's really about being selective of the people that you are open with, right? And not being, just being a bit more cautious, right? So there are extremes. I know of individuals where they are super cautious. They don't want to meet new people. They just keep to themselves and all. And even when they meet new people, they are also very they draw a fine line between whether you're my friend, you're my acquaintance, or you're my colleague, right? So I think there needs to be a good balance, and I think every individual will find his or her own balance, and it's also personality related, right? Yeah. So for me, I had to hold back on that trusting nature, and be more careful in terms of what I say, what I do, and also how I portray myself. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Any kind of last advice you have for people interested to work in Thailand? I know this is a very fake thing, but because I would probably never have the chance to work in Thailand, but if so, is there any kind of things that people should look out for just working in Thailand? That is specific to, let's say, the market in general.
I think that people wouldn't want to work in Thailand because of the dollar, right? You would want to go to Thailand for holiday.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, because Sing dollar, one Sing dollar is probably 22 Thai baht. And that's going to get you something already with 22 Thai baht. Yeah, so... but that said, see, if you go to Thailand as a senior management staff, actually the salary is fairly comparable. But if you go in as a junior, like say a fresh grad or whatever, it's probably not as high, right? Advice, well, for me, it doesn't matter where it is, like I mentioned, right? As long as you have the opportunity, then just go, right? Living in a new place on your own, making new friends, learning how to fend for yourself. I think these are important life skills and life lessons that everyone should experience at any point in their life. Yeah, it doesn't matter where it is. It could be in New York, it could be in Stockholm, it could be in Thailand, it could be in Vietnam or Malaysia even, right? It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so when it came to the transition of coming back to Singapore and doing what you wanted, what was the thought process? Like for when you changed from being a PE teacher from TJ to going out, then now coming back, what was that thought process that maybe it's time to come back and do something for myself? Or I remember you were working as a employee in like a sports WeWork-ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that came at a later time actually. The last year that I was in hospitality, I was already back in Singapore. So the last 6 months, I was back in Singapore and actually still having to travel to manage the other side. And of course, I wanted to get married, so I didn't want the long distance anymore. And I had the opportunity to come back because the general manager managing the property in Singapore had retired. So then I got the chance to
The
come back to
opportunity opened up.
Yes,
Okay.
right. So thankfully, right, and I think that stars aligned to a certain extent. And then,
Wow, so lucky.
I came back, and at the point already, the relationship with my fiance was already very good because he was towards the later part already. And but coming back was good because with family, and a bit more stability in terms of starting a family and all of that. But I left hospitality to join a business that I had invested in, so an events management company. And my business partner at that point, 2017, said, "Hey, Alex, I think it's time for you to come out and we need to grow this brand." So we created a brand. And this 2017 was the third year that we were running it. The first year we had 3,000 participants. Second year in 2016, 9,000 participants.
What kind of events were these?
It's a marathon fun run kind of event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the event that I don't mind sharing the name also. It's called the YOLO Run. So with the YOLO Run, we created 2015, 2016. And in the year 2017, I left hospitality to bring the brand to Malaysia, Thailand, and Hong Kong. So 2017 was spent traveling to these three cities. And I launched the brand successfully in these three cities with 4,000 people participating.
Is it those kind of experiential marathon which is like fun and all that kind of like?
Yes and no. At the end of the day, it's the alignment of the vision of the event. You know what we stand for, the values, and yeah, activity based in terms of what happens on that day itself, lah. Yeah, and just think of like your Pokemon run or your whatever run. Is that sort of run?
Is that kind of events?
A fun run. But in the year 2017, when we did it in the three cities, it was a 5 and 10 km run. In Singapore, we had 15,000 people signing up in the year 2017.
Oh, this is on a single day, is it? Or like a
yes, on a single day.
Wow, the logistics behind it must be crazy.
yes, yeah. And actually, 2017 was also a very bad year for me because the event was a disaster. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you briefly shared about it.
Yes, it was a disaster. So everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and
I mean, could you give a list of what went wrong? Like,
well, the baggage. There were not enough racks for bags. You know, there were the route was short. There was a lot of overcrowding in areas. People coming in through the security counter the queue was like 30 minutes long. Everything was bad. There was not enough water at the water points or whatever. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Yeah, and it was a terrible time for me. And I was the face of the brand, so I got all the backlash on social media. Very traumatic. And at that point or after that event, there was also a misalignment in terms of vision direction with my business partner, and also a lot of things that I inconsistencies with the business, and so I decided to leave. Yeah, and that's also in 2018. That's when I joined. Actually, a headhunter found me on LinkedIn and said, "I think you fit the bill as general manager for this new fitness wellness co-working space." Yeah, and that's how I joined Core Collective. Right.
Okay, if I may just go one step back into in 2017, right? I mean, to be the subject of someone who is like literally bashed online, you see all this kind of online comments, it's really quite vicious.
Yes.
It's like dozens and hundreds of them, right? I mean, knowing that you're a person, I feel like, I mean, you are very, you have already experienced life to a certain extent, and now that you're getting so much backlash, because I feel like there's not many people who have the experience of like getting whacked online. So, I mean, did that at all even affect you at any point of time, or you were just like, nah, this is like, of course, obviously it's a big failure, but how some people are greatly affected by, let's say, comments that they have about their social media activities, but just because I have received a fair share of hate comments as well, and I would say I got quite affected by them, but after a while I realized like it doesn't matter. But yeah, what was the thought process? Because you have like your bash essentially, right? So it's so tough. Like, I mean, do you talk to anyone about it, or was it more of that resilience that you have, right, in terms of like, no problem, like what conversations do you have with your family, friends? Yeah.
I think, I mean, you're right to mention the word resilience, right? So definitely resilient, not feeling like a failure, backing down. Of course, they go through that period of feeling self-pity, and you feeling like you didn't hold up to your end of the bargain. But it was really about trying to keep afloat, lah. I think that was there. And support structures for sure important, right? So family, my wife was there for me the whole time. Very close friends that were checking on me all the time, and just coming to visit me and say, hey, let's have a drink, let's go out for some food, that sort of thing. It was very definitely a tough time for me, and it was also feeling one part of me on wanting to leave the business, right? So traumatic that I wanted to leave the business, and also with that misalignment in terms of vision of where we wanted to hit together as a business and a company. I think that was also something that took me a lot to get over, lah. Yeah, but it was all for the better because I put on hold starting a family because of that year that of frequent traveling and that big event that we were all looking forward to, that big successful event we were all looking forward to, but it ended up being a big, major screw up disaster at the end of the year. So it was like, all high. And then, of course, on the way there were many lows as well, but we were all aiming for the high. But, in the end, it was really like a bomb drop, right? Yeah. So I think for me, it was figuring out what I really wanted was important to me, and picking up the business and trying again and doing something that I might not be 100% aligned to my business partner at that point in time was not something that I wanted to do. So I wanted a break from it all. And I think having a break from it all was good. So, which is why some people, they have too much of something, they want to go on a fast, right? Social media fast, or, I don't want to be, I do this on a daily basis. I don't want to be touching it, seeing it, or doing it. Yeah, so it's good to have that fast. And it was during that period that I realized that, okay, my wife has waited for me this 12 months, and I think it's time for me to start a family. We are not young anymore, and we've been wanting to start a family for the longest time, and this is the best time to do it, right? So that's when that's the reason why I left and exited. And I think if you ask me what was it that got me over, I think it was looking forward to the fact of me starting something else.
A new chapter.
A new chapter, which was family, which had absolutely nothing to do with my career and business. Yeah. So that was what put me through. I mean, support everyone can have, but it was that, okay, that next thing that I want to do is fatherhood, right? Yeah, that's something that
excites you.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, when it happened, it was even beyond my wildest imaginations and dreams, right? It's even better than what I thought it to be. Because you wouldn't know until you really are in that position, in that shoe.
Looking back at 2017, right? What would you wish that you would have done differently when it came to, let's say, organizing an event? I know you talk a lot about, let's say, the misalignment between your business partner. Like maybe if there's something you could share in terms of things that you could have done to have strongly aligned your values with your business partner at a certain extent. Because I know, at least for me, I've tried out my fair share of hustles as well when it comes to working with people, being partners. At the end of the day, communication is key. Like you need to be super aligned at the core reason of why you're doing it. So maybe if looking back, is there anything you have done differently to make sure, or you would have prevented the event in 2017 that you went through?
I think that there were many red flags in the year already, but I didn't.
When you say in the year, because you're doing this for a couple of years right now, right?
In the year 2017 was the year that I was actually 100% involved in that events business. The other 2 years that had already started, I was still in hospitality.
At the same time, right? Because you were organizing in 2015 at the same time.
Yeah, but in 2015 and 2016, I was as a shareholder, not as a on the ground employee of the company. Yeah, so I think there were many red flags in the year 2017 that I did not pay heed to.
Which were?
There were already discrepancies in the accounts, the finances. There were already discrepancies in the other events smaller events that we had done, which were some in the red, some in the black. But yes, financially wise, that's some of the red flags. Other red flags would be in the operations side, right? Or, hearsay side, so and so said something about, this other person. Yeah, and
Politics?
Not politics. I think it was more truth and facts that I brushed off as not important.
What kind of truth or facts do you mean?
So this was specific to the business, my ex-business partner. Yeah, which for me, I say, it's not not possible. I don't think so But if 10 people said so, and then I still think that it's not the case, then there must be some truth to it, right? So I was a little bit lying to myself in that sense. to make me feel better because it was somebody that I trusted dearly and someone that I was working very closely with and someone that we were working to get to the end line together. And I think I was probably clouded by the single-minded focus to get to the end line, which is finish the event successfully. But I did not pay heed to all of these red flags that were happening. That possibly if I might have been able to leave or exit earlier and not go through the trauma, right? So, but I'm not the kind of person that says I regret this or I regret that. I learn from everything, and I believe that something happens for a particular reason. So all of that happened, and yeah, I learned from that experience, and I think that it's good. How many people can actually say that they organize an event with 15,000 people and failed miserably at it, right? So
Okay, got it. I think that's I think it's quite important to be fully aligned, and basically the lesson is to really pay heed to those small kinds of things where you address it when it's something small before it gets very, very big.
Yes, and I think most of these were brushed off with don't worry, bro, I got it settled,
So you never had that kind of tough conversations to really go into what people were saying about, let's say, your business partner?
I think yes, I did, but like I mentioned, that it was always replied with "Don't worry, bro." Don't worry, bro. So that "Don't worry, bro." I think
you have to dig deeper when people say.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So that's something. When somebody says "Don't worry, bro," okay, it's a red flag already.
Okay, I think that's a very, very valuable lesson.
Yeah. So that's something to be very, very cautious of. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to your time as I just want this section of this podcast, right, to just maybe educate users on the term biohacking. Like pattern recognition is what I said earlier, right? Of you working with businesses and individuals, right? What kind of common problems do you see across all your clients, right? And how do you help them solve these kind of problems?
I think that it's not so much identifying the same problems with each client because everyone has different issues or different problems, right? And I think you're speaking about this specifically for Avantia Wellness, right? Yeah. People come for different issues. They could be sleep issues, right? Insomnia. They can't sleep at night, or they wake up at 3 a.m. and they're wide awake. They can't go to sleep anymore. So a lot of things that are related to sleep, for example, or even low energy, right? Why am I feeling so lethargic every day, right? Or how come I'm always so hungry? And everything has to do with understanding of yourself. So it could be hormone issues, it could be a gut issue, it could be a lifestyle issue. There's so many things that are related. So it's about pinpointing and understanding where exactly these areas are. Some people do it on their own. So they do it by way of elimination, right? It's the same way as if you have an allergic reaction, you don't know what it is. Okay, I'm going to stop eating egg for 2 weeks, and then okay, is it egg? No, it's not. Okay, I'm going to stop eating gluten for 2 weeks. Let me see what it is. Or I'm going to stop eating nuts for 2 days. Whatever, right? So it's about understanding what it is. Is it the lifestyle? Is it the food? Is it the whatever? And everyone has different issues. So if you have a sleep issue, I have a sleep issue. Your sleep issue need not necessarily be because of the same issue as me. So that is why it's more complex. So that is why it's fun also to do what I do, because then I understand or I know that it could actually be certain other things that could be affecting. And I'm not an expert in everything, but I know experts that will be able to address your specific issue. So that's where my value comes. And having been in the fitness, health, and wellness space for these couple of years, I'm fairly connected in that sense to know that, okay, yeah, I think you have this issue. Maybe you should be speaking to so-and-so. Let me put you in touch, right? But having that overall understanding or holistic understanding of fitness, health, and well-being, I think is very, very important. And I mean, for you, you mentioned that you're skinny fat, or you don't understand, but you're still young. Doesn't matter. There are people in their 40s, 50s who so-called can reverse the damage by changing lifestyles, having positive habits, and really incorporating, whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, whether it's being in the right environment to understand stress levels, understand hormone levels, understand the type of food that they should be eating, at the different time of the day, or that is suitable for their body, right? So that is there's quite a lot of data and quite a lot of science that actually goes into all of that.
So when it comes to onboarding clients, you really go through the whole process of finding out, like, okay, they might tell you they have a sleep issue, but you really go into detail into their lifestyle, their nutrition, and all understandings that you have around well-being, and possibly come up with a solution for that, which is customized to each and every individual.
That was the idea for Avantia Wellness when we started. But our main focus actually is in red light therapy. So red light therapy helps reduce inflammation, and it also helps with accelerated recovery, sleep issues, and general well-being. But what people don't realize is that a lot of the issues that we face is inflammation related. So inflammation need not necessarily mean swelling, right? You could be having a gut inflammation that's causing you to have irritable bowel syndrome, right? So all of these things, it could be referrals from functional medicine doctors. It could be referrals from practitioners who are specialists in their specific area. So we are like a support service or a support structure. But at the same time, there are people that come to us who want to address a particular issue, but maybe red light therapy, yes, can help them to a certain extent, but they still need to see somebody else to address the root cause of that issue. Right? So that's what we wanted to do when we started. And we created Avantia Wellness to be a franchise brand, actually. So pre-COVID, I already signed a couple of NDAs with people in Singapore and Malaysia to buy the franchise or be a licensee for our brand, Avantia Wellness. But when COVID hit, they decided to...
A different story.
Yeah, keep the money. So that's also when, during circuit breaker, 3 months, no revenue, right? That's also when I pivoted. That's also when I said, okay, I think I need to do something on my own. And what are my skill sets? How can I continue to meet my purpose, which is to help people, help businesses, help individuals, right? Using my skills and experiences. And that's where I said, okay, I'm going to start a consultancy. And that's where, Aviary and Co came. And with that, starting at the consultancy, it was also about understanding, okay, what are the sort of services that I want to be providing? What is the primary service? What is the secondary service? And there's so many things that I like to do, right? How do I package it such that it makes sense to any person that actually comes and asks me, hey, what is it exactly that you do?
So actually, okay, what exactly do you do? What is your ideal kind of work that you want to be providing for clients, which are individuals or businesses? The primary thing that you envision yourself helping people? What's that? What's the kind of work that you want to serve them?
Okay, so I think it has to be very community driven, because that's my expertise and that's my passion. And there are many businesses there are many existing businesses that are trying to add an element of fitness, health, and wellness. Or they might have fitness, but they don't have health and wellness. Or they might have health, or they might have wellness, but so there are businesses that might have one of the three, or they might just want to add all three of them together, right? So how do I bridge that gap? And that's where my experience, my network, and my expertise would come in from a community building angle. I'll give you an example, right? A client that I'm pitching, I'm doing a proposal for a client right now. They like my live conversations, right? It talks about health, it talks about retirement and all that. And it's all health related. And they said, can you do a podcast series for us, right? So curating specific topics and getting people interested in the different verticals that this brand actually represents. And that is community, that is fitness, health and wellness. So really aligned to my expertise, really aligned to what I like to do. And it's really offering that value that I know I'm good at doing. I don't have to second guess myself.
You've been doing it for a while.
And I think that that's something that I've always felt is an issue, a problem for me, where I say, I don't really know this. How am I going to put it down, right? But now, because I'm focusing on something that I'm good at doing and I like to do, I don't need to second guess myself. Even if someone were to just ask me and say, hey, can we do an impromptu interview or podcast or whatever? It's not a problem. I don't need to prepare beforehand whatever experience, knowledge or facts that I know, right?
Because I mean, you know it.
Exactly, I know it. And because I know it, then it's authentic, it's consistent, and it's credible, right? So that for me has been the winning formula. Yeah.
I apologize for this very stupid question, but just fitness, health, and wellness. Fitness is like exercising. Health is like nutrition. I'm not even exactly sure what's the definition of well-being. Like is there a could you in layman terms really segregate the different definitions of these three? Like to be honest, when I first read about well-being or wellness, I didn't really know what it was. So in your own words, what's the segregation between these terms?
Okay, not a stupid question, JJ, right? So, I mean, increasingly people are talking about mental health, mental well-being, right?
Okay.
Mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is, some people use it as an alternative to mental health or mental well-being, and mental health is no longer regarded as a taboo word, as a taboo subject. Right? And everybody's mental health or well-being is important, whether you are an employer, employee, father, mother, son, whatever, right? Or going to school. So that, I think, is the well-being part. The wellness part is also a little bit more mass market reaching, because wellness also includes your beauty, your spa, anything to do with self-care, and having that relaxation element or component. So that wellness part is good because it increases the pie of potential clients that would be interested in what I'm able to offer, right? So let's say wellness, right? Let's say it's a spa, right? They're very focused on relaxation and all that, but maybe they want to add in some form of recovery, right? How do you weave that into the business? Is recovery talking about recovery from a surgery? Is it recovery from insomnia? Is it recovery from bad diet? Is it recovery from trauma? Right? There's so many ways to incorporate all of that in, right? And these four different things that I already talked about also already include different specialists or experts in that different fields, right? So how do you put them all together to make it into a program or whether it's a program activity or brand or business or product or whatever you want to call it, to make it palatable to the consumer or the end user, whether it's B2B or B2C. Yeah.
Do you have a specific idea of who your ideal client is? Are you more satisfied with working with businesses or like individuals? Like, what is your ideal client?
I think the ideal client definitely are businesses, because businesses have the
a larger impact.
Larger impact, and at the same time, businesses can engage you over a longer period of time. So having a contract of 6 months or 12 months, and with community building, you're not going to be able to achieve anything in 1 month or 3 months, right? It's not like a Facebook ad campaign, you pay $1,000, wow, look at my conversion. You can't see the conversion in that sense, right? I mean, look at the way that you've managed to build your podcast, right? It took you many months and time, right? Yeah. So that is an eventual thing, and podcasting in itself is a community engagement vehicle, which is why this is something that I wanted to move into as well, because I felt that it definitely is something to be able to share my opinions and to also hear other people's opinions so that more people can know about it. So that's my ideal audience would be businesses. And right now it's a good range. I've got insurance companies, banks, looking to say, hey, we want to do this wellness event. And I'm not necessarily the organizer of this, but I am a vendor within that event that somebody will engage me to conduct a particular activity, right? Even hospitality establishments are looking to say, how can we add a fitness element to what we're providing? How are we able to add that fitness, health, wellness element to what we're providing, whether it's with staycations or whether it's with bringing in the right vendors or people to be able to offer that service. And of course, they can do it themselves, but they might not get the right people doing it, and they might not be getting somebody who has done something successfully already and put them on the right track.
the thing about consulting is that it's somehow you can't scale it as much. So I'm just wondering what is your end goal really to just like build this health and wellness entity that branches into many different kind of things within it, or are you mainly focused on just building your craft as a consultant to like really pool expertise from many different kinds of areas together, or like what's your angle? Do you want like that kind of big organization? Is that what you're working towards, or
You mean client as a big organization or my
as in
consultancy
the
as a
own
big
consultancy as being, let's say, a self-sufficient machine, and you're just operating it from a macro perspective?
That's how I envision it to be actually. And I don't. So right now is a one-man show, right? I'm doing the conceptualization. I'm offering whatever experiences, expertise that I have. But in the long run, I know that I can't do everything. So I will want to build a team. That's when I'll need to grow and hire. And right now, I think my bandwidth maximum would be 3. If I really work myself thin, maybe 4 clients. And anything more than that, and Singapore alone already, there will be more than just 4 clients that will want my service. I will need to build a bigger team to be able to provide that, right? So if I come in from a strategic point of view, I will have people on the ground or different leaders within the team to be heading different things, right? Whether it's a podcast, whether it's community engagement, whether maybe I might need to even add SEO marketing to the range of services I do, right? But whatever it is in the fitness, health, and wellness space, and I'm not going to be moving from this. This is the niche I carve for myself, and the part on. So this is the main revenue source, right? I also have. I want to do workshops, courses, masterclasses, which are specific to fitness, health, and wellness, whether it's mindset, whether it's community building, and that is going to be a secondary revenue source or service offering. Keynote speaking is also something that I am building a team of, and career coaching. So anybody that is lost, career coaching would be more for the solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, not so much the businesses. So somebody, maybe a personal trainer or a boutique gym owner looking for direction or being stuck, not sure where to go next. These are the sort of people that currently I already am coaching. So that's a secondary service. But with the name and the brand Aviary & Co., my vision is to grow a global community of leaders. So maybe there'll be Aviary & Co. in Malaysia, Thailand, maybe in the US or wherever. And this would be from the network, right? So I don't need to be physically there. It could be a close friend, a contact that say, hey, I really love what you're doing. Just feed me with all the templates and processes that you've already done to build Aviary & Co. to how it hopefully will be in the next 2 years. And they can just copy and paste and do that. And yeah, they can manage that Aviary & Co. in another city or another country. So that's why what I envision it to be.
Okay, wow, that is very big. Okay, this podcast is like a it's like a milestone whereby you can really look back at where you are. Because
Yes,
I
for
think
sure.
at this point you're starting out. To me, there's so many things. Like there's so much work. So, but I think just a random question. Like when it comes to these kind of things you're telling me, is it like you have an Excel sheet, everything's all lined out? Okay, this. Are you like more the kind of structured guy, or like how do you come to clarify, being clear about what?
I think for
want to
sure
do?
you need to write things down, right? So sometimes I write things down, sometimes I put them in my phone, but I have an Excel sheet, so I've got a timeline, a calendar, all the things that I want to do. Sometimes it's all over the place. Okay, it starts all over the place, but slowly as you move along, then you put the pieces in together and you realize that, okay, this one I shouldn't do, this one I should prioritize. I need help with this, and that's where I would, who should I speak to, to talk about this? Who should I speak to talk about that? And that's how I fine tune my thoughts. And my wife actually is somebody that I always bounce ideas off, and she's the harshest person. She's my greatest critique. Right? So she will be the one to really put me down and really say, this is terrible. Go in, if you haven't thought through, don't come and talk to me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But at the same time, she's super supportive, and she will, come and check on me and say, how's this, how's that. So I think it's that sort of good relationship that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, a very strong support system.
Yes, for sure.
On that note of having that clarity, right? Okay, we're moving on to the last section of this podcast, right? what is your life purpose and how did you get that? Was it something that you gradually found over time? Was it a specific day where you realized that, wow, okay, this is my life purpose? Or are you still finding like, yeah, what is your life purpose?
Yeah, I mentioned briefly earlier, right, that my life purpose is to help people, right, and helping people is very vague, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
help people in. So for me, I had to break that down. Okay, what do I mean by people? Okay, it's businesses and individuals. So that is my target audience, but that's also still very vague.
Yeah,
right?
that's vague.
So then, what is my area of expertise and specialization? And it is in the fitness, health, and wellness space. So that's my niche. And so that is, I've added it to my purpose statement. And what else, right? So yes, help people, but I can help somebody pick up his laptop and he dropped it on the floor. That's also helping people, right? But so it's three specific things. One is helping businesses and people seek clarity of direction. So that is one. Second thing is helping businesses or individuals achieve targeted solutions. So they are looking for something, they don't know how to get there. We come together to understand what it is and we reach that solution together. And the last thing is to targeted solutions, clarity of purpose, and success. Right? So everybody's measure of success is different. But whatever your success is, I will help you to get there. So that is how I am helping people. And through my consultancy with the services that I'm offering, from career coaching to keynote speaking to workshops and courses, I am amplifying my ability to help people. So everything fits in quite in place if you follow the narrative, right? So my purpose is to help businesses and individuals in the fitness, health, and wellness space, either to achieve clarity of direction, targeted solutions, as well as to achieve or reach success. Yeah, so that is my purpose in life. It's not been this since
It sounds so clear, damn it.
yeah, so that is clear. It took me a long time. It took me the circuit breaker to understand and pen it down. Had to do a lot of drawing,
So you literally took the time to really organize it.
Well, I had 3 months without revenue, JJ.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I had a lot of time to think and
that kind of
do
clarity.
things. Yeah. So circuit breaker for me, if anybody wanted to say how successful was circuit breaker or how bad was circuit breaker for you, for me it was something that I think changed my life lah. That it gave me time to find my purpose. And it gave me time to understand where I can meet the needs of the individuals or businesses with whatever value I can offer. So some people, they think, okay, I want to help people. Yeah, but you need to drill deeper. How do you want to help people? Or some people say, I want to add value. But how do you want to add value? So you need to drill deeper, you need to dig deeper. And I believe that everybody has that innate desire to help people or even to add value, right? But there are some people where their purpose is to buy a private jet, to live in a district 10 house or whatever. It's fine, right? Different people have different purpose. But if it's about helping people or adding value or whatever, or bridging the gap between what or whatever, you need to drill deeper and you need to be able to understand where is the value that you can bring based on your experiences and based on who you are as a person. Because everyone is different and therefore everybody's purpose technically should be different. Right? Your purpose might vary slightly in the different stages of your life, but by and large, it shouldn't change very much. So I remember, if I think back, even when I was a teacher, I really like to help people and I really like to get communities together, which is why community is something that I always say that is something that I'm very passionate about. But I didn't know that until now. For me, at that point, it was like, yeah, I like to organize camps, I like to rah-rah people, but then what is it that specifically it is? And if you were to track back from the time that I was playing water polo competitively to even until now, I have been very actively growing communities, engaging communities, building communities without me even realizing it. But right now I'm realizing that, hey, that is something that I managed to do it very well. And I think that it's something that I want to continue helping people to do. So community building strategy there are two companies right now that I am working with to build community building strategy. Yeah.
Okay, wow. I mean, like it seems like you definitely have connected the dots backwards, lah. Right? Okay, I mean, I'm right now in the process of like looking at my past events, like what am I usually inclined towards to do, lah. You mentioned about success being subjective to whoever you're helping to achieve success for, right? What is your definition of success?
This is a tough question that I've asked myself many times also. And recently, a close friend of mine asked me, and I think for me, it's really about being independent, right? I spend most of my life. So you mentioned a divorce early in my 20s, late 20s, and that wiped out quite a lot of my savings. And with my different field businesses, it also has wiped out quite a lot of my savings. So, and contrary to popular belief, where the dark side or private sector pays better than the government sector, if you look at it, so yes, my monthly package was better, but because I didn't have the good bonuses that I had as a teacher, my annual package was actually less, even though I was having a higher monthly package. Yeah, but of course, different lifestyle, different learnings. Like I mentioned, no regrets to whatever I've done, right? So I want to build a comfortable life for my family. That's what I want. And not that we are not comfortable now, but it's always good to have a magic number. So we have that magic number, right? Working towards that magic number so that the family can be comfortable. And once I hit that magic number, that is where I would say I'm comfortable and successful. But this also cannot compromise the lifestyle. So, I will not say that I will sleep 3 hours a day, and work 21 hours just to reach that magic number, right? That's not something that I will want to compromise on. So how do I balance reaching that magic number at the same time being able to spend time with family, being able to have some me time, being able to get I get between 5 to 7 hours of sleep is sufficient for me a night.
Wow,
so
5 hours.
Yeah, so 5 is my minimum. On good days, I get 7.5. I rarely get 8. Yeah, I rarely get 8 hours. But yeah, so between 5 to 7, I think is an average for me. So without compromise on that, without compromise on time that I will be spending with my family, my girl, my wife, that is something that would be success for me. And then I can sit back and relax. And yes, that is success to me. And then I can not stop doing whatever I'm doing, because that would mean stopping life entirely, right? So just continuing to enjoy whatever that I am enjoying on a daily basis. Yeah. And predominantly, I would say it's a good balance between work and my professional and my personal life.
When it comes to this magic number, right? I mean, was it something that you aligned with your wife at least? What kind of conversation? So is it like a joint conversation? Yeah. How are such conversations like you guys come together?
I think most families would have joint decision making, right? Okay, you handle the groceries, I'll handle the child's expenses, or you handle the car, I'll handle the mortgage, or maybe we pull together finances and this manages everything, right? But it was really about sitting down and putting down, okay, what are your expenses? What are my expenses? What's our revenue, right? So what is in, what is out? Okay, we know what is the out. Okay, so we need to maintain. That's where the budgeting comes in. And then what is the in, right? We need to grow the in. So how do we grow the in? These are all the areas that we grow the in, and then we work towards that. So once we reach that, then it's considered, that would be considered success for me. Not so much about, dream house or dream car or dream career or whatever. So I'm quite grateful that even before I launch officially my business, right, things have been rolling in. And my target for Aviary & Co. is actually 2 years for the business to be very stable. Yeah, but I don't know, hopefully maybe I get there even before the 2 years.
Yes, I'm sure you will, right? I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Is your wife an entrepreneur in any way? Is she helping you in this, or like does she have her own?
My
venture
wife
as well?
is actually an entrepreneur, so she is a private jeweler. So she designs
Wow.
and makes jewelry, high-end jewelry, and she's been doing it for more than 10 years. So there are two entrepreneurs in the household, which makes it slightly more stressful as well, right? Because then income is
Are
not
you guys
as-
competing with each other?
No, for sure not, right? So since my daughter was born, my wife took a little bit of a back seat in her own business, but she's still doing. Clients still keep coming back. She still keeps getting referrals. But
Wow,
definitely,
this is a very niche.
production rate for her has almost gone less than 50%. But yeah, we are comfortable. Yeah, but during the circuit breaker, we were relying solely on her income, lah. So yeah. And savings, of course. Yeah.
I think it's a weird question, but assuming that you already have hit your magic number right now today, what would you be doing differently than today?
You mean for myself?
Yes.
Well, with
What you have already hit this magic number.
yeah, if I've hit the magic number already, I will be wanting to grow more businesses, lah. Right. So maybe deciding where I might want to invest, put a piece of my money in different businesses that I feel are important, or maybe
More from an investor standpoint.
maybe from an investor standpoint, or it could possibly even be starting something else on my own. Yeah.
What do you mean something else? Is there that clarity there?
I don't think there's a clarity right now, right? You never know what will
comes?
happen along the way, right? It could be growing a different department with Avery & Co. It could be that's where the expansion into the different countries would come in, or that could maybe even come even before, right? So that is all something that is in the pipeline. Or it could be growing Kampung Collective. So we've been, my co-founder Andy and myself, we've both been busy with our day jobs. So we've been neglecting the expansion of that a bit. But we want to write a playbook for people to actually learn how to build a community. Yeah, so the 101 community playbook. And that's something that would be free to share. And it would be from all the data that we have with community builders within Kampung Collective.
Okay, so definitely I can tell you're super passionate about community building, because like this was one of the questions they asked. Let's say if you were to achieve your goals right now, what's next? Then I was like, I don't really know specifically what next. So I was like, yeah, interested, very, very interested to hear your perspective on it, right? Okay, moving on to this last few questions, right? If you were to go into the bookstore and you were to master any 3 subjects, what 3 subjects would you choose and why?
Well, I think it's the same thing we've been talking about, right?
I know. Fitness, health, wellness.
I think it would
No,
be.
is it?
I think it would be fitness, health, and wellness would be one.
Yeah, actually,
one
that can be lumped
topic,
together.
right? And community would be another topic.
Okay, that's the second one.
I think the third topic could possibly be more of like a mindset leadership kind of topic, which I feel I've got some value to give to different individuals or even businesses. So these would be my 3 expert topics, lah. Yeah.
On the note of, let's say, leadership, the kind of books that you have read, right? Is there any kind of book recommendations that has made quite an impact in your thinking, and perhaps you'd like to share some golden wisdom of nuggets from there?
One thing I have to be honest with is I want to read a lot, but I don't read enough, right? But the last book that impacted me a lot was Simon Sinek's What's Your Why? So that definitely was the greatest impact on how I found my purpose as well. So even right now, when I meet people and they're a bit lost and they don't ask excuse me, they don't ask for any form of coaching or whatever. I just send them the links to say, hey, go and watch this. I think it's going to open up your mind to be a bit more reflective and just understand what really could be your why, right? And then after that, you talk about you see what's your how and you see what's your what. And so that's something that I think is important. Yeah.
Got it. That's quite interesting. Okay, just the last few questions. Going through a divorce, I think, is something that no one talks about, and I think there can be a lot more conversation about that. I think when it comes to relationships, to me, it's such a complicated thing, right? Lessons from it. or things that you would have, steps that you have taken differently? Like you mentioned about, let's say, things that you have done differently in ignoring the mini red flags that
Yeah,
popped up when
yeah.
you were talking about your business partner.
I think
right?
it's actually, now that you mention it, it's probably the same issues, right? So, acknowledging the red flags, I think and sometimes when we are too engrossed or we're too embedded in the situation, we can't see the red flags. And it's friends or whoever close ones to us that actually can identify the red flags. But are there people in your midst that are actually close enough and open enough to you to actually tell you that those are red flags? Right, so now that you asked that question, I think in the relationship there were a couple of red flags to begin with already, but always brushed aside, never really talked about. And that's when it just suddenly escalates, and suddenly it just goes full blown, right? So the advice would be to acknowledge red flags, but it's people change at different life stages, right? So if you don't have that, you're not able to maintain that close communication to change with your partner in the different life stages, or to grow with your partner in the different life stages. That's where there's a misalignment, and that's where disconnect, and that's where either party might stray. Even if they don't stray, because say, I don't love you anymore. You're not the same person that I met 10 years ago, right? And it need not even be straying. And the straying could be infidelity related. It could be maybe decided to focus on work instead, or to focus on the child instead. And then, the spouse just becomes like a warm body in the house, that sort of thing, right? So I think acknowledging red flags would be something that not just as an individual, but the people around you. Yeah.
I have some friends, at least secondary school couples. Maybe I can give an example. Some of my friends, right? They get together. Let's say, I'm not sure if it's like a stereotypical thing to say. Let's say, but let's say some girls who get together with like that, the sportsman of the year. Those kind of couples, and you talk about evolving as a couple, growing together, and naturally people would move on accordingly. lah. So let's say when the allure of certain partners are lost and they don't progress at the same stage, right? How would you grow together as a couple, even though you're growing apart? Okay, that doesn't make sense. How did you grow apart from each other?
Okay, I think one of the biggest issues that we had in that relationship was I was not 100% myself. Meaning that I was trying to be somebody that my ex-wife wanted me to be. So I wasn't 100% myself.
What did she want you to be?
So I'm quite an outgoing person. I like to meet people, my friends, be very social. But she wasn't so comfortable with me doing that all the time, and therefore I recluded, right? And therefore I wasn't myself. Right? So a lot of the comments that I made, that my friends made, would be, "Hey, well, you disappeared from our life. Suddenly after the divorce, you're meeting us again, right?"
Whoa!
Yeah. So that was something that so be yourself, continue to be yourself. And it's ironic because one of the reasons that she gave when she left was, or decided to leave, was, you're not you're not the same person. No, she said that she didn't like me for who I was, but then who I was somebody that she wanted me to be, if you get what I mean.
Okay, wait, I lost you there. Come again one more time.
So maybe let me try and explain it again, right? So maybe when we met and we were dating and all that, I was me, so she liked me for that, right? But after we got married, she wanted me to do, or didn't want me to do certain things, and I didn't do those certain things. And I think that in the course of the marriage, I don't know, maybe she didn't realize it or whatever. I wasn't the same me that she married, lah. But that's because I was being the me that she wanted me to be. Yeah, and therefore that was where the relationship didn't work out, and and then things got got bad lah. But yeah, so I think the learnings from that would be continue to be you, even after you get married, and continue to grow with your spouse or your partner, so that at different stages of your life, you are getting stronger together and you're growing together lah. And it's not like, which is why, since you're talking about university, right, there are a lot of guys in university that end up with girls, and the girls actually have their boyfriends in NS, in army, right? So that's where there is a little bit of a different life stage. So that's a relationship that that's an example that I can draw. So with that different life stage, then the girls realize that, hey, of course not maybe, I don't know, 20% of people would experience that, or maybe even higher, I don't know. But that's just an example. So different life stage, and because of the different life stage, different alignment, different things that you do, different things to talk about, and that's also when the relationship would be strained. Yeah.
I think it would be interesting if there's like an academic research onto the kind of thing about people being at different life stages and where they perhaps get together or break up. I think it would be interesting, but I think no one has done that.
No, I mean, I'm sure they have. I'm not sure, but it's one of those psychological studies, right? And when we talk about stages, also it's work, right? It could be new job, it could be going for masters or going to university or army or whatever, right? So yeah, all these things I think are relevant and important to acknowledge.
Okay, got it. Thanks so much for sharing that. I think
No
it's
problem. Yeah.
I think it's wow. Okay, wow. Biggest regrets in life. I don't think you have biggest regrets in life. I don't think you're the kind of person, right?
Yeah, you know me so well after speaking to me for this time, right? Yeah, I no regrets, right? Although the quote that I gave earlier was the regret of not leaving would be greater than having left and regretting it. Yeah, so no regrets. I think everything happened for a reason. And if I didn't go through the divorce, I wouldn't have met my current wife. I wouldn't be having my little girl right now. If I didn't have that failed event in 2017, I wouldn't have found my job at Call Collective as general manager, and I wouldn't have started my own business. And right now, doing my own consultancy. Yeah. So I think everything happens for a reason. If you look back in life, I've only lived half my life, or maybe less than that. So there's still halfway more to go. I'm quite looking forward to whatever lies ahead.
Speaking of your daughter, right? Okay, I think this will be quite an interesting thing. The question I have here is the biggest lesson that you want to impart to your children, right? If you were to look into the camera, right, to talk to your daughter daughter or son? Daughter when she's, let's say, a 25-year-old adult, what would you say to her? And what are the kind of what's one of the major lessons that you want her to really ingrain and carry with her life?
Wow.
She's 25 years old right now. Wow. Yeah, imagine if she's watching this. I think, that's the reason why I do what I do, which is like just capturing everything digitally. So yeah, I think this would be quite mind-blowing. Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Sorry, what's her name? I don't even know
her name is Ava.
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 Ava, listen to your dad.
Well, how are we gonna do this, right? It's gonna be so weird.
Hey, really, you should send this clip to her when she's 25, okay?
When must be 25.
Up to you lah. When she understands, when she becomes an adult.
I like what you're doing here. So when she turned 2, I actually wrote her a letter.
Oh, are you like the kind of dad like going to write
every
year?
I hope to do that.
You should make a video every year.
So okay, maybe every year I'll make a video. I don't know, but I wrote because at that time it was. I wrote a letter that I was dedicating to her, and hopefully when she reads it when she's older.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah. So a really good friend of mine is a creative director, so he's really good in art. So he draws a portrait every year for his son. So that is like his gift. So for me, I can't draw it. I'm not very artistically inclined, so I will write. But doing a video might be something
you should do a video. Okay, well, what would you say to her when she becomes an adult, and the biggest kind of values that you really want her to ingrain from you?
Wow. Okay. Let me try this. Right. Ava, if there's something that Daddy needs you or wants you to take with you the rest of your life, it's really about the relationships that you build. Everyone is important. Don't discount any person that you meet in your life, and not because he or she might be useful to you somewhere down the road, right? But I think everybody has a different role or part to play in your life, and I think you must also understand that you have a part to play in anybody's. You have a part and role to play in anybody's life. So treasure relationships that you build. Be as authentic as you can. You know, when I say authentic, it means to be real, to be genuine. Don't get to know somebody just because you want to get a job or because you want to get his number or whatever lah, right? Or maybe someone wants to do the same for you, right? But really be as authentic as you can, be as real and genuine as you can, and don't discount any relationships that you make along the way. So that's my piece of advice. I think that is something that I've managed to do, and I think you have that little bit of me in you, and I think it's going to possibly be able to take you further wherever you are in life right now. When you're 25, that's going to be 23 years from now. I think I'll still be alive, so I'll be 60. I'll be 64, right? So I'll still be around. I'll probably still be working. So that's my message to you, Ava. Daddy loves you.
Oh, damn. Okay, I cannot stand it. Last few questions. What is the best advice have you ever received?
There was a time in my career in hospitality that I had to let go of people. So we were closing down a company, closing down a department, actually 2 departments. And my CEO boss at that time said that you can't be, what's the word he used? I think it was something to the extent where you can't be nice in difficult times, right? But I take this the other way actually. So the advice to me actually reversed my mindset, because I'm a very nice person. I cannot be harsh, or of course I will be harsh on people if they screw up or they are irresponsible or they've got integrity issues. But by and large, I'm a calm person, and I take the more coaching style of dealing with people. So I actually took it the other way, and I tried to be as nice as possible in the way that I was letting people go. And I think that worked to my advantage. So that's something that I felt was something I couldn't do, because it was a tough time. And I thought that speaking to him would, help to, he would give me a pep talk on how I could fire people, right? Of course, he gave me a pep talk, like, you can't be nice, blah, 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 blah. But then I took it the other way and I did things my own way. And I think that is an advice that sticks with me, to not do things that way. So don't do things a certain way just because people say it needs to be done. Do it the way that works best for you.
In the way that's most authentic and the way that you're most comfortable with.
Yes.
Got it. What's the worst advice have you ever received?
I don't have any at the moment, but if there's something that I would have to say would be, and it's not even to a particular individual, there are people who say just wing it, right? But if you can't wing it if you don't prepare, you don't plan, and you don't have anything that you've researched for, right? I mean, even for podcasts, you had to probably research for at least 1 hour, 2 hours, right? And do some pre-planning with the questions that you've done, right? So, because if you wing it, you're not giving the due respect to whoever that you are presenting to or speaking to or whatever. So yeah, so I would say that would be my advice to anybody lah. Don't wing it, right? You can act like you're winging it, but it's just like, in school when people say that, oh no, I never study lah. In the end, how come this fella got 100 marks, right? Because so either he's really super smart or he was actually studying, or maybe when the teacher was talking, he was paying attention, but you were not. But whatever, right? That's an example, right? Analogy, right? So yeah, don't wing it. You can act like you're winging it, but please do your research, your due diligence and whatever, and give the respect that you need to whoever that you are working with and dealing with. Yeah.
Got it. 1 year from now, what tangible events will need to happen to you to make it the best year of your whole career?
Wow. Well, I like this kind of future planning questions, right? I never thought of it. I guess it would be an overwhelming, one of my ideals, right? Even as a teacher, when I was in all those entrepreneurial activities, would be to hire a team of all my ex-students.
Wow, that is so cool.
That I had worked before, and they could be graduated from different batches, but I know them directly. They were directly under my mentorship and whatever. And of course, they're all doing different things, right? Some are in HR, some are in sales ops or whatever. Then hire them all to my company, and everyone is contributing, and everyone is. Some of them, because they're close to me, they call me Uncle Low, right? So everyone is working under Uncle Low and doing something amazing, right? So of course, whatever I'm doing has to be aligned with their purpose and their direction or vision as well. But yeah, that would be amazing. But okay, that's not something 1 year from now. 1 year from now, I see for me would be having overwhelming proposals that I need to come up with for clients, and having overwhelming response for the business that I'm doing. And yeah, I really am looking forward to training and coaching a team to be able to work with me and be aligned with whatever I'm doing for Aviary & Co. And to be able to learn, and whether or not they stay within the company or they go out and do something else on their own, it doesn't matter. But I want to be able to coach and impart some experience and some skills of whatever that I've had to a team that I can call my own. Because right now it's a one-man show, right? And I'm very much a team person, right? I'm very much a leader in that sense. So I want to be able to continue to do that. So that would be my success, for 1 year.
I mean,
when
you talk about this, the one thing that comes to mind is community. You want to build that community.
Yes, so it would be my own company culture, my own company community, internal community. Yeah.
Okay, Alex, thanks so much for taking the time to be on this podcast, right? If there's any listeners that want to reach out to you in the work that you do or find out more about you, right, where are you most active on and where can they find you?
Well, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Actually, on all social platforms, I'm active. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm Alex Low, Alex Low Sing Yu. All my business account is Alex Low and Lao Sing Yu, which is my Chinese characters. On LinkedIn, I'm Alex Low as well. So you can find me. If I'm not wrong, it's Alex Low Coach and Trainer or Consultant and Trainer. Right. On Instagram, I'm Alex_Low SY. So yeah, social media channels are the best to get me. I'm fairly active there.
Got it. Thanks so much. I'll be leaving everything below this in the video description. If you have watched till this far, please do me a favor. Do leave a like, comment, subscribe, as you really help me to create more videos like this in the future. And yeah, thanks so much for watching this episode, and see you in the next one.
Cheers, man. Thank you.